Greetings and welcome to yet another girl. Who don't you know? It is Marilyn Green. You know me. I am the hostess with, you're probably saying it, the mostest. You got that right, okay? And so I'm so happy that you can join me. And you know what we do here? I am transforming minds, your mind, one
Mhm.
show at a time. So I also want you guys to be so kind as to like, subscribe, and make sure you do your notification bell on YouTube. All right, so don't want to talk too long on this because about what I'll need you to do. Let's talk about the subject that I'm going to talk about today. Okay, this subject here may be a little sensitive to some. It also may trigger you to maybe a space you don't want to go to. But it is my hope that it will trigger you or catapult you to a place of continual healing concerning the subject. During the month of October, and I always say anytime I come on with any themed month, it's not just October that we talk about this. This thing is happening right now as we are recording. Someone is being I'm going to use the word victimized, if you will, by abuse. All right. They talk about domestic abuse, but now they got the fancy name of intimate partner violence. You know, that sounds a little bit more proper, but I say domestic violence. Okay. And you know that there's more than just IPV or intimate partner violence. There's many different types of violence: financial, sexual. I read today digital, so many different types of abuse. And so we're going to be talking to my guest today who has experienced some abuse, IPV abuse. And we want to hear what she has to say about this and tell her story and let her continue to heal, as I want you guys to heal as well. And also we're going to share her book. Whoa, a book that she did with her sister that we want to talk about as well. So let's get it started. Dr. Tiffany Crayton. I call her Dr. Tiff. Dr. Tiff, how you doing, girl? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well and blessed. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I
Of
made the
course.
cut, y'all.
Okay, yeah. Girl, it's like, who don't you know? I know Dr. Tiff. Okay. Dr. Tiff, all right. And so, Dr. Tiff, I kind of led in by saying about the abuse. Let's just use the word abuse now. Okay,
Mhm.
because there's many different types of abuse, as I said, and I didn't even name them all.
Right.
But what we're here to talk about is your story,
Hmm.
somewhat. Okay. I don't
Yeah.
want you to give all the goodies away about this book. Let me just peep it in just a little bit here. Okay. But I want you to talk about your story and bring to us anything that you feel that you would like to share, right? That will help you along your way. And also, we also want to help somebody else. So let's start off with, what do you consider abuse? I mean,
Mm.
what's that definition?
I, Abuse is anyone that tries to change the core of who you are. One that isolates you. One that causes you to lose your sense of self. Um, Abuse can come in many different forms. For me, it started out as love bombing, if you will, and so then I'm making decisions or choices out of my pain instead of my purpose, um,
Hmm.
and trying to replace it with things that I didn't have in my life, like a really I think I fell in love with my ex-husband's family before I really fell in love with him, because I saw what they had, the closeness, they did everything together. And it caused me to look past, really what was happening, at that time, because again, I was making decisions out of pain. Um, but it depends, what that abuse looks like. Is this person controlling?
Hmm.
Because that typically is what abuse is: someone having control or power over you, intimidation, fear.
Okay. Well, you know what? You hit on something when you talk about you fell in love with his family.
Hmm.
So is it you fell in love with his family is because you had a family that was not as close, or you always wanted a closeness in the family? So he had something that you wanted, right?
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
saw it and you fell in love with that part even more. And
yeah.
so, and then you also said something about love bombing. Now, I never knew that term. I'm like, what you talking
Mhm.
about? Somebody told me, girl, I've been love bombed. I said, what? What is
Yeah.
that? Tell the audience, what is love bombing?
Now, I didn't know when I was going through it, Maryland, that that's what it is, but that's what it's called now. You know, that's
Mhm.
the real evolved term. I just thought it was someone showering me. You know, if you think of a trap, it's not the trap that kills you. It's the trap that captures you, right?
Mhm.
It leaves you vulnerable, you know, for your prey.
Yes,
And so it's a setup, you know,
it
if you
is.
will. And I wasn't looking for it. And that's what love bombing is. It's you know, things are coming at you so fast, like the words of chivalry,
Oh wow.
or especially, you know, if they find um, it, you know, gifts and bringing you around family, and they're loving on you, and it's not the presentation of what's real.
Oh,
And so you're enticed by, you know how it is when you get a beautiful gift from
yes,
someone and it's packaged so perfectly and beautifully. The bow is tight, everything looks good. And then when you open it, if you've been to a dirty Santa or
yes, 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 yes.
a white elephant parties, and you open it up and it's not at all what you thought it was going to be.
Wow.
That's love bombing.
So they're the person, they're the man or the woman, okay? That's the person who is finds a person that might be potentially needy at the time, right?
No, 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 not
They don't have to
necessarily.
be needy.
Typically, your abuser is a narcissist.
Oh,
We unpacking a lot right now.
I know it.
A narcissist only chooses those that are strong, that are loved by others. It doesn't mean that you have to think that you are a strong individual, but it's something that they see in you that they envy, that they want, that because they don't have it.
Oh my.
Yes.
Oh, that right there. Let's put a pin.
Okay.
So, so there's an envy. Is it possibly safe to say it's a competitive jealousy too, or not?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so they pick you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. They do.
Wow. They
Mhm.
pick you to basically prey upon you, right? Because would you call them a predator?
Yes.
Oh,
That would
wow.
be accurate. That would be accurate.
Okay, so wow. From the beginning of this, okay. We ain't been in this 5 minutes, and I'm like, "Ooh, man, I need to go back and study some here. What's going on, man? I'm gonna start looking suspect or side-eyed everybody." Now I'm like, what you doing? So, but I mean, also, all jokes aside, though,
Mhm.
that's pretty deep.
Mhm.
That they are looking for you in order to feed who they are. Is that safe to say?
Exactly. Yes, that's what narcissists do. They have a supply. It's called a narcissist supply.
Oh my God. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's get a little bit more into you. So, when did you really start to say something wrong here? Okay, you know what I'm saying? Let me just say this, when did a switch turn a little bit to say, I can't
Mm,
do this?
a switch turned a little bit prior to us even becoming engaged.
Okay.
And it was when, and I talk about it a little bit in the book. Um, it was when I had my first black eye, And I remember covering up, getting ready to go to church to do praise and worship.
Oh.
And at the time, I was a part of a church community that I held in very high esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken me a long time to talk about this. I've never talked about this in public.
Oh.
So definitely not a format such as this. And I don't blame them at all. I Again, you make decisions out of or choices out of your pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember asking them. The question was, do you still believe that God told you that He's my husband, even
Mm.
with this black eye?
Wow.
And the response was still yes. And I will have to tell you, I've had a relationship with Daddy, with my Heavenly Father, since I was a little girl. I would say around the age of 7.
Mm.
And so it's not that I don't know his voice, because I know one may ask, how did you still end up marrying? Again, I'm going to go back to we make decisions and choices from our pain.
Okay.
And I remember saying to them initially, before the black eye, when they said, God told me this is your husband, I said, well, he didn't tell me that. No, so and I'm young. I'm in my early 20s, and they're very well older than I am, and um what I believe to be more mature in Christ. And
Mm-hmm.
so I began to question God's voice.
Mm.
And I didn't at that time, because the love bombing was already happening. I did not trust what I was hearing from God over what they were saying to me, because
Mm-hmm.
in comparison to them, which is what we do, um, I was comparing my level of faith and relationship with their level of faith and relationship.
Wow.
They had been writing books, they had been on the ministry scene. And
Mm-hmm.
so little old me, maybe I didn't hear his voice. Maybe they do know more than I. So even with the first sign, the first hit, the first derogatory names, the things that he would say to me, I knew in my spirit that he wasn't,
Okay.
but the voices that I was hearing from the women that I again held in very high esteem, respected, and knew that they spoke to the Lord, they said, that's your husband. And then I'm asking God, why I thought we was cutting out the middleman, which is why I prayed to you.
Ah!
You
Ah!
didn't tell me that. But again, in my youthfulness, I listened and I stayed with this man for 11 and a half years.
Wow. Was it 11 and a half years with marriage and all that, or that's prior to marriage? When did you guys get
11,
married?
11 and a half years with marriage. I'm not even counting the dating time. And the dating time really wasn't that long. It was actually kind of swift. It was within a year of me meeting him.
Mm, mm, mm. So he did show himself. That's what you're saying. He
He
did
did.
show himself, and
He did.
you sought counsel, basically.
I
You
did.
sought counsel. You followed it right, and I think the part that bothers me the most of what you just said is that you trusted the level
Hmm.
of faith of these people. I'll just say people,
Hmm.
um, and and even though knew that I have a loving father,
Hmm.
daddy,
Yeah.
and he would not hit me like that. You know what I'm saying? He would not do that. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Right.
I can see now why you have really not even really talked about it so much, but this is healing right here,
It
Dr. Tip, to even
is.
say it out. You're right on this platform, because I think that's going to really help a lot of women and men and whoever, because we are so busy into the religion of a thing. And that might be another topic for another show, but guess what? This is my show, so I'm going to go for it. Okay. Uh, you better hear God for yourself,
Right.
okay? And know who the Father is, because so many women, men within the church, if you will, and I'm not downing any church, that's not what I'm saying, but you got to hear God for you.
Right.
You
Correct.
get what I'm saying? So
Uh,
yeah. So you get married, right? I'm sorry, I just had to go and say that one because I'm like, look, somebody need to get free on that right there. That
yes.
you better hear God for yourself and
Yes.
know who your father is, because the more you know about him, you start to know who he is not, and that's what's important. Exactly, right? So
Hmm.
you move on. You was 11 and a half years. Oh my God, and the violence got worse, or it would subside. And so many times, an abuser will do what they call, I think the word is honeymoon phase or something, where they will be nice,
Yeah, there's a
and
cycle.
then they'll bring you presents. And baby, you know this, that, you know what they say, right? Baby, this, that, and the other. Then you be like, okay, okay. Then it goes again. Okay,
Yes.
what was
Yes.
that cycle about? What was happening?
Whew. It's like a roller.
Okay,
It's a roller coaster. I mean, and it's a cycle of abuse. There's definitely a pattern. Um, and you're literally walking on eggshells throughout that time because you don't know when it's going to come. Um, to go through the cycle of abuse in detail, it would take longer than your show.
okay,
But um, it starts out in that honeymoon phase, and things are great, and then you're just blindsided by whatever event that has taken place, and it could be you're at the mall and you're with your husband, and another man looks at you. Now, have never been able to control anybody's eyeballs,
come on.
and um, that would ensue um, an argument, if you can even call it an argument, because by that time I just don't say anything. And I remember, I can give you an example. I remember a time going to a family get together, and one of the cousins said, Tiffany, you look nice today. Again, I don't have any control over the words that come out of anybody's mouth. And the next thing I knew, I had sex with a cousin. Um, and that caused a argument that caused me to get beat that evening, because he thought in his mind, because he gave me a compliment, that I had been sleeping with him.
Wow.
So anything even out of your control could happen. If the house wasn't cleaned, or I looked at him a wrong way, that could cause him to spit on me. The only other time I had been spit on is
Oh.
when I was a little girl in an all white school, first Black
Mm-hmm.
family to move into this town in Oklahoma, and Roots had just came out, and someone
Oh
spit
wow.
on me because I was Black.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of that, I had never been spat on. And I remember how humiliating that made me feel. And then to have someone that supposedly loves me and is supposed to be my mate, my protector, is spitting on me, eh, because I did something wrong. And then, like you said, they'll give you presents. Baby, I love you. He cook, he clean, he do all of that, and things will be fine for a while. And then that cycle would just start all over again.
All over again. All over
So
again.
you begin to believe that, okay, if I just do the
Better.
right thing, if I
If
would
I, if I,
just, then I can keep my family together.
Right. Wow. And and even in that right there, to say I can keep my family together. In
Mhm.
my mind, I think that and this is a whole nother topic. Oh wow. Men should try to keep their family together as well, but the woman start to take on a whole different altered ego, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
that you change and step up to trying to basically keep your family safe.
Right.
You're trying, I mean, you had to step up to that, right?
Right. Right.
And it's and when you speak of family, you had what, small children, or you all had children.
Have two
Wow.
two sons. Two
Two
sons.
sons.
They're
Wow. But
yeah.
the fact that mm, okay, I don't want to get emotional here. I'm just saying that is just so sad to spit on you and dog you, and I know your children seeing. I mean, just
Yeah.
total humiliation, right? In
Right.
order to build him or keep him where he's okay with. It's almost like a junkie. I'm a junkie. I
Yeah.
got to do this to her in order to keep myself okay. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? That
Right.
is, oh my God. Now, you did say something about that eggshell thing.
Yeah.
Walking on eggshells, you did never ever know when it was going to come. So you were always in, I'm going to use the word, a frenzy. Okay.
Yeah.
You were always, your nerves was on edge. So, Tip, what happened to you? I mean, what manifestation physically came? Okay,
Hmm.
if you can touch on that just a little bit, okay,
Um,
of what happened. Some people just become extremely nervous. Some people have I told people, sometimes you can have a nervous breakdown, don't know it. You're so stressed out, you just keep on going, right? It's what happened. Something had to happen.
our bodies, it's called your somatic system, and our bodies are not created to be in a constant state of, fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
That is, something that God gave us, that's built in us, so that if something is about to happen, our body knows how to react,
Exactly.
right?
Right.
So, but to be in a constant, flight mode, our bodies are not built for that. And that's what trauma does to you. Trauma causes you to have a high sense of anxiety
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So if you can think about what that feels like, um, you, I always tell my training clinicians that staying busy is a trauma response. And that's
Ah,
what I would do. I would stay busy. I would not allow myself to sit, to do mindfulness, to meditate. Oh no, I would not be able to do that, because then I have to sit in my thoughts. I have to sit in and really allow my body to feel the pain, that I
mm,
endured. And that's very, very uncomfortable. But the part of being uncomfortable is the part of growth. And that's the only way that we can grow. But when you're walking on eggshells, you're in survival mode. So
yes.
you just think about being in survival mode 24/7. That's a very uncomfortable um state of mind to be in, to be in constant survival mode, and trying to protect your kids, and to try to figure out, how do I get out of
Mm-hmm.
this? How can I even get out of this situation? Should I get out of this situation? I want to keep my family together. But all
Exactly.
the shame that comes with that, and what are people going to think? And I need to keep this family together.
Mm-hmm. 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 I got it. So when you get, I know you get to a point where you say, no, big no, okay, a big no, a no,
Mhm.
and we know that people who are victims of abuse, I use the word victims, and I mean that, and I'm not changing
Mhm.
it, okay.
Mhm.
Uh, they have to have. I don't care what people come and say. Well, they don't use that word no more. I don't care. I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Um, you have to have had a plan. Did you have a plan of, I'm gonna get away? When did you start that plan?
Oh, Marilyn, I probably left. I know the statistics say you leave about 9 times up to
Uh-huh.
11 times before. I tried leaving a lot of times.
Okay.
Um, but at that time, there wasn't really any. There were things in place, but not as it is now. And I was trying to keep a sense of normalcy for my babies. And I know you've heard the saying, I know this evil or this
Yes.
devil, and I don't
Yes.
know what's out there. And I didn't, I was really trying to protect them. I didn't want to be in a shelter, didn't know what was in the shelter, thought that they would be exposed, you know, to something more harmful. And I would not advise this to the women that eventually hear this, but my plan, I was in school and I knew that I had to get my graduate degree, get my license, get that exam, to pass that test, so that I could create a life where I could sustain my boys.
Hmm.
And so I finished school. That was part of my plan. I
Okay.
had probably about a year and a half to finish. Like this was years in the making, quite honestly.
Hmm.
Um, I pass my test on the first go around because God and I had a talk, and I said it's a one shot, and so I need you. And He came through, and so I think my oldest son was 6, getting ready to turn 7, and my youngest, because they're 5 years apart, was around the age of 2 or 3 when I finally got out.
Okay.
But I had to get my education first because I knew that that was going to sustain us. Um,
Okay.
but again, I would not recommend because as I'm writing and my oldest son is healing from a domestic violence situation that he married into himself.
Hmm.
Um, I'm learning that things happened while not on my watch. While I was working and going to school and trying to make that pathway. So the very thing, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but
But you take your time. Take your time.
this, this is so new. Nothing happened to him, but just the idea of people trying to get to him and what he had to do to protect himself and his brother while in the care of my husband.
Wow.
So I'm still working through that because had I been present while trying to make a way of escape, um, they had to protect themselves at that age.
I got you.
And so then there has been judgment of others that know of this regarding my son's um, ex family
I got
that
you.
has been used against us. So
Okay. Okay.
I'm still working.
Yeah, that's real tender. I can see, and
Yeah,
it's also to me, it's because you are a mother, a good mother, and want to be a good mother. What you were trying to do for them is for the long run, but even in the short
right.
run, you still could not protect them. That's what you're saying. That while
Yes,
you're over here building a life for them that they don't know about because they're too small to even understand it,
right.
this was happening. So you feel bad. To me, let me just say for me, I would feel bad as a mom that I
Mhm.
was not there to protect them. And I definitely feel you more than you know. Okay, because when I talk about abuse, mine was mainly financial at this particular junction. But even in that, I feel you when you said I had to pass that exam. I had to pass it because I say, God, look, I need to pass this exam as a dental hygienist. Then I can make a better life and stuff. I can leave. I can do whatever. I can move to Kansas City. I can do whatever. And I passed that test because I had one money to do it, right? I had
Amen.
one money
Amen.
to do it.
Yes,
And I
yes,
passed that test by 1 point. One
yes.
point, Tip. But
Yes.
God knew I
Yes.
needed to pass that test because
Yeah.
I knew. So I feel you. I feel you. But
Yeah.
the time when I had to go and do class, whatever and stuff, I just have to really work. You have to work on yourself, Tiff, to say,
Mhm.
I did the right thing.
Yeah.
I thank God that He was still watching me and my children,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
just don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be so hard.
I'm working on it, Marilyn.
Yes, yes.
Just last week, you know, I someone asked me, you know, have you forgiven your ex-husband?
Hmm.
And I said, of course I have. Um, I have forgiven him. But the next question was, did you thank him for your boys? And I said, well, I mean, that is the great and beautiful thing that came out of the marriage is that I have my two sons. But no, I'm just going to be honest. No, I didn't. I haven't,
Mm-mm.
you know, but I recently did. And
Okay.
I am thankful for him, for my sons. I am,
Yes,
because that is the beautiful and great loving thing that I do have. Because I look at them, and in spite of and everything that the world said they would not be,
they are.
they are, and
Mhm.
I'm so thankful and grateful for that. Now,
Yes.
what I'm angry about is the residue from that relationship,
Hmm.
that spirit that is still connected
Yeah.
to my boys. But we
Yeah.
working through that, because what's not gonna happen is it's stopping.
Right here.
It's
Right here.
this
Be
that
the curse
spirit's not
breaker.
going to. Yes,
Be the
yes.
curse breaker.
Through
Declare
through
it.
yes, through our healing,
That's it.
through our healing, it is broken.
It's broken in Jesus' name. I touch and agree with. You can be that,
Hmm.
okay? Because I'm a firm believer that this stuff comes through the DNA and through the umbilical cord. It goes, it's coming. You know what I'm saying? So you can't stop that. So of course, I gotta ask you the $1 million question
What's the
that
$1 million?
everybody asks you, girl. Why didn't you leave your abuser? You
Why
know
didn't
they asked you that one.
And it came up around my family and love just a couple of weeks ago, and it used to upset me,
Mm-hmm.
because I would always hear, because I was that way too. My mother was married to my dad for 21, 22 years, and he was an abuser.
Okay.
And I always said I would never marry anybody that would do that to me. The minute that they put their hands on me, I'm out. Okay,
Gone now.
so 11 and a half years later. um, and so I would get offended when people would say that,
Mm-hmm.
how could you? And, even my adult son, marrying someone that gave him a black eye before they were married. And how I answered that is, you're so loved bomb, you don't know how to get out.
There you go.
You and and as strong as I thought I was in my early 20s before I met him, I if you think about just development,
Yeah.
you don't know who you are until you're around the age of 25, between 25 and 30. And it takes men longer because they a
let
little
me jump
behind.
into, you don't know who you are around my age of 68. So go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're still
You
trying
still don't
to
know. You don't
you're still
know.
trying to figure out what your
Yes.
purpose is. And so you think you might know what you're going to do, but you actually don't know what you're going to do until you're in that situation.
Mhm.
Now, I grew up in a home, middle class family, both, nice home. Everything appeared to be aesthetically fine. But it was turmoil, it was chaos, it was toxic in my family. So
Mhm.
subconsciously, I did choose someone like my father. My mind, girl, this don't make sense. But again, not listening, not listening to self, not trusting self, because again, I didn't know who I was. But if you know who you are in Christ and you're walking boldly in that, and
Mm-hmm.
you've discovered this is who he says I am, again, when you make decisions out of your pain, you don't make good choices.
You do
But
not.
when you're whole, when you know who you are, when you're confident in who God says that you are, you choose differently.
You choose.
So unless you got all of that figured out at the ripe age of 21, 22, 23, then you're good. I
Right.
was. So please don't tell me what you would have done and how could you have been in that situation. How about let's sit down and have a conversation about how God got me through it. Let's have that conversation.
Right. That's right. And you know what? Here it is. Let's just go right into this book. Now, I did read part of your part in here. I did
Mhm.
not read all of it on purpose,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Because I know I may have drawn from it, and I don't want to draw from it, okay? I want people to go and pick up this book. I think you can see it, okay? It's
Yes.
my, what is it? My Story, Your
Your
Hope, okay? It's when fear, pain, loss, and grief are too much to ignore, right? Now she's told some of her story, but she hasn't told it all because see, I kind of thumbed through it, but I didn't read it, right? So you guys need to go and pick this book up. It is at Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Books a Million.
and
And not
Target
only is her story, huh?
and Target.com.
Target.com, okay? Target.com, go girl. Anyway, but this book right here comes together by her own sister who put a
Yeah.
whole bunch of ladies together who are, I'm gonna say big baller shot callers right now, but they still but they still are
Mhm.
human, right?
Yeah.
And they do have pain and they've made decisions out of their pain. So please, please go and pick this book up, right?
Yeah.
So let me see. I think and also, um, Dr. Tiff has something coming up. She's going to complete her own memoir. What is the name of it? Empowered by Fire. It's a
Powered
self
by
help book. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that. What's going on?
Well, before I do that, can I just say about my story, Your
Sure.
Hope? All proceeds go to the Red Cardinal Experience Foundation, and I am gonna push, push, push.
Okay.
My birthday was in September, and I'm just praying that what I wanted for my gift was to give hope. And so, if you purchase this book, all proceeds go to the foundation so that we can give scholarships to high school students that are going into the field of counseling or education, any of the behavioral sciences, and
Mm-hmm.
any women that are transitioning into um, business or the behavioral sciences and
Okay.
education. And so I just wanted to put that plug out
Please.
there because my personal goal for the foundation, since I'm on the board, is that we are wanting. I'm praying for $10,000 for this first disbursement in the spring for the young ladies. So really excited about what Dr. Michelle is doing and the foundation, and so just please support.
Hey, and so what is the name of that foundation again?
It's called the Red Cardinal
Okay.
Experience, and it is in honor of whom I call my mom T, but she's my aunt that raised me as her daughter.
All righty.
It's
Okay,
her.
thank you for that. So hey, go get the book. No excuse, no excuse. Get the book. Help
Yes.
out everybody. So, Dr. Tiff, tell me about this new endeavor that you're having. Empowered by Fire?
Yes.
It's a self-help book. Tell me what is it about and what do you hope to accomplish by publishing it?
Okay. Well, this will be coming through the publishing company Cocoon to Wings, working with Stephanie Alton. and the goal is for this to be done by the end of this year, ready for release in 2025. So this
Okay.
will be a memoir slash self-help book.
Oh wow, I love that. I love that. Now, okay, so we're about to end this, but I want to bring out one of your positive messages that you said and let you expound on that.
Okay.
Okay? It says you said to silence the voices surrounding you and trust God, faith over fear.
Hmm.
Unpack that a little bit. What were you saying?
Just like as we were talking about before, where people will shame you, if you will. Why did you stay so long? If that would have happened to me, silencing those voices. Because again, if you haven't gone through domestic violence, intimate partner violence, anyone that causes you to lose sense of yourself, make you feel less than, not enough, um, then there's not a whole lot that you can tell me about what you would have done. And so it opens up again, inviting them to the table so that I can share with you
Hmm.
what God has done to to make a way of escape for me.
That's right.
because
That's right.
because I didn't know how to do it myself.
Wow.
And it's more difficult to do, I believe, when you have children,
Hmm.
because you're dealing with, especially if you're a Christian, you're a person of faith. I had people in the church tell me that I could not leave, and that just pray my way through it and just have more faith, or that how God feels about divorce. And so there's just a lot of things that you have to work through, that it's not so easy just to leave, as
Got you.
people try to make it seem to be. So I'd rather you sit down and talk to me about how I got through it.
That's right. That's right. And you know what, Dr. Tiff, you are certainly an inspiration and such a cutie pie. Just gonna let me say
Oh,
that.
well, thank
Okay,
you.
girl.
Though,
Just
now
want.
I will have to tell you that, I have met women that did not make it out. I met them prior to them being killed while being in a relationship. And I remember seeing the wear and tear on their bodies and not being healthy, and, just the visible pain that they were going through. And not to be a vain person, because that's not what I am. At the same time, I did not, before Marvin Sapp came out with his song, but not, I don't look like what I've been through. That was what I asked God. I said, please preserve me,
Wow.
because I need people, not to be, again, not for vain reasons,
Hmm.
but because we live in a society that judges us based on how well we do, how
That's right. That's
well
right.
we look. I said, I just need you to keep me. And we were kind of talking before the show about different cosmetics and things. And I'm one of
Hmm.
those people that I'm like, well, thank you, Lord.
Thank
Because
you. Thank you. That's right. That's right. But you know, the thing about it, stuff is always about. I don't mind going through the fire if I just don't smell like smoke. Okay,
exactly.
that's it. I just don't want to smell like smoke. Okay,
And
because
that's the premise of my book, Empowered by Fire,
oh wow.
based on the three Hebrew boys, based on that scripture, because I don't look like I've been through. You
Mm-mm.
might not be able to see the scars. You might,
Hmm.
because God protected me.
He did. He kept you. He gave you some vital lessons. You've learned so much. So I believe that your book that's coming out, you'll be able to help other women because that's what my show is all about. You know, it's helping people. It's about health and wellness and being okay with yourself and and all that. So yeah, but hey, Dr. Tiff, it has been a delight to have you on my show. And when you get that new book out, please, please know open invitation is come on and sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's talk
All
about it. Let's
right.
chat it
I
up.
welcome it. I love you so much, Marilyn. And thank you for affording me this opportunity to tell my story. to
And I
continue
and
that journey of healing. Thank you so much.
Right. You are so welcome. So, hey, you guys, this has been Girl Who Don't You Know? It's the show with Marilyn Green, the hostess with the mostest. You know what's up. That's me. That's me. That's me. Hey, you guys, I want you to like, I want you to subscribe. I want you to come on back and see me now. Okay. So, until next time, I want to just tell you guys, peace out. Take care.